Ready to go? Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the County Commissioners meeting for Penobscot County for November 5th, 2024. Probably no surprise to most people that today is also Election Day, and we certainly encourage everyone to do their civic duty. At this point, I will call the order of the roll. Commissioner Balaji.
Present.
Commissioner Marshall.
Present.
Mr. Treasurer.
Present.
The chair is here. At this point, I would ask our finance director to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. At this point, we have minutes from the prior meeting of October 15th that are before us. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? At this point, we would open public comments. Do we have anyone online that wishes to make public comments? We do not. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to share public comments? Seeing none, I will close public comments. At this point, we now would call on our UT director and his deputy to come forward for their agenda items. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Ellis is on.
Morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Doctor.
Are you on? You did.
Can you hear me now?
I think so.
Can you hear me yet?
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
It looks like
green
green
here. Yeah, light's not on.
Okay.
Roll with it.
We can hear you, George.
Yep.
All right, I speak up anyway.
Peter, is your mic on?
No, Joe.
Here we go. Okay, ready to roll.
We're fortunate today, we're gonna have someone, one of the administrators from the Office of Cannabis Planning at the state level, try to help us answer some questions on whether we do or we don't treat adult cannabis and medical cannabis rules and policies. We don't have any currently, and we have a request in Indian Purchase 3 for an adult use cannabis sales shop store. But we don't have rules and regulations. So through the Office of Cannabis Planning, there are some what seems to us to be slightly complicated ways to get in or out of this, whether we vote in or out of having, giving our residents the opportunity to have this type of a facility. So Elisa Ellis is from the Office of Cannabis Planning and can help us start down the road of making the decision. It might take a minute for us to get there, but it would be great for someone to, for you guys to have your questions answered by the office that can help us the most.
Thank you, George.
There must be some communities that have gone through this.
We talked with Aroostook County, because they'd just gone through this past spring, and they put together a plan where you're allowed to apply, but they put a lot of hoops in your way, so that if you do apply, you're gonna have to meet a lot of requirements. So we've got their ordinance to review.
So that might not be the best one then.
We don't know, that's what I don't know.
So you're just saying you're gonna explore this and present more information as
We can have our people review it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have some review here, and check with more counties that have unorganized territories. Yeah,
So at this point, you would like the.
I would like Elisa to at least be able to answer any of your further questions, whether there's a brochure that we sent to you guys that has to do with when you go to the state level, and you get that brochure from the LUPC. And the LUPC, I'm waiting to hear back from them again, from their planner in East Millinocket, whether this facility in Indian Purchase 3 needs to change their zoning ordinance, their zoning, before they can apply. We don't know that yet. It's not plain and simple on paperwork. So we figured we better figure out, we've got, according to the rules, we have 90 days to respond to this request. So I thought if Elisa could answer any of your questions, it'd be great.
Great. Well, good morning, Alicia. You are with
Morning.
Office of Cannabis Policy.
I am, yes.
Terrific. Well, thank you for being with us today. Please proceed with any comments that you would like to share at this point.
So I'm the director of licensing. So if anyone wants a license, they come through us. I also handle all local authorization and help municipalities and counties through that process and what is needed to make sure the applicants who are applying are properly permitted through you. So if you're looking at the adult use side, which is also called recreational, towns and plantations would have to opt in at the local level, but your townships need the county to opt in to allow adult use facilities to operate there. So that's what you're looking at if you want to do that or not.
Okay.
So once you do that, you would set up your own permit plan, whatever you want for an application and permits for them to operate. If they would get your approval, and then the form would go over to LUPSI for their approval as well.
Okay. To your knowledge, has LUPSI dealt with this in any other unorganized territories at this point?
Yes, I know we have a couple in Abrustic, Piscataquis, and over in Washington. We have facilities, so they have dealt with this.
Okay. And when you say the township, if we were to approve adult recreational retail, do we also have to approve a license for a grow operation?
No. So in adult use, you get to pick and choose cultivation, manufacturing, and retail and testing facilities, what you want to allow or not allow, and then what the guidelines you want on those.
Okay, thank you. And in the process, do you apply this to the entire unorganized territory in your county, or is it by township?
You as a county, it would be for all townships within your county.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the commission?
No, just that this would be either one or all of retail, growing and manufacturing, all three, right?
For adult use, medical operates a little bit differently than adult use.
Right.
So what's the process to opt in? If we opt in, we then have to develop a policy?
Right, you need to create an ordinance and just put in place whatever guidelines or you want to have or not have. Some are as simple as saying we opt in and we allow adult use facilities. That's it. Others put guidelines on where they can be, how many they can have, if there's a fee to apply, things like that. So you can make it as complicated or simple as you wish, depending on what you want to see in your county.
Have you found that some communities limit the number of retail operations based upon population, or is that not a criteria that they've applied?
Some have, but most have not, and just said they'll let the market take care of itself. They'll see a whole bunch of stores come up, and eventually there won't be enough business and it'll scale down on its own. So,
Okay. We have our county sheriff present. I don't know if he has any questions or comments at this point.
I can make a quick comment. Last year I testified on behalf of MSA when we had some of the challenges with some of the bigger illegal grows. And to be quite frank, we were side by side when it came with adult use and medical marijuana, because most of those operations are running within their standards and doing just as they are supposed to, and we've had little to no issue with them. My only concern was when we were trying to crack down and stop the illegal use ones, many of those folks were trying to jump over, and as you know, in our very rural areas, trying to get licensed. I'm concerned about that part, but you may be surprised that I would say this, but the adult use that we currently have and the medical use that we currently have in our area, they run pretty professional businesses. They don't know us and we don't know them, and that just shows you that there's a very tremendous problem. And when we testified together, they actually testified with us in support against the illegal grows. So my only question would be, as you're developing policies, just be mindful that our rural areas were targeted for a lot of reasons, and that many of those folks have already applied and are in the process of applying to get licensed. And I think it's riddled with some groups, riddled with potential problems, not the legitimate businesses that we see today. That's
Thank
the
you.
comment I would say.
Alicia, in regards to enforcement, as I understand it, because I served in the legislature when they redrafted the rules, the office, or Bablo has some oversight for enforcement, but what would the responsibility of the local law enforcement, in this case the sheriff, be for approving adult recreational?
So they wouldn't have any, except enforcing your own rules. On our level, and especially what we can help with him is we don't have law enforcement power. So we cannot really help with illegal problems. But once they're licensed and regulated, we can step in and help and make sure they're following the regulations, they're doing what they're supposed to do, especially with adult use. They're completely inspected before they're allowed to open, and then you're notified once they've passed and have been approved with us. We get complaints, we're right out there investigating the complaints. If they make changes, we're out there approving their changes before they happen.
Okay. Does Bablo have any enforcement authority, or did that not get promulgated in the new rules?
No, Bablo does not. We have our own compliance team with over 17 individuals divided out throughout the state to make sure they're going to these facilities and that they're operating correctly.
All right, thank you. All right, any further questions?
What happens if we opt out? What if we don't do anything?
If you don't do anything, then adult use facilities cannot operate in your townships. Medical is a different story. They cannot have retail stores or inherently hazardous manufacturing without your opt-in, but they can grow without you opting in.
I would hope that we opt in, because I think if you opt out, you're just helping the illegal operations with no regulation. I think it actually is better for the communities if they're licensed and we opt in with some reasonable rules. That's my thought.
Okay.
And at any point where we will have to have a public hearing where we can hear from concerned parties on both sides of this issue.
Okay,
Yep, makes sense.
so at this point, what would the next step be, Mr. Adams?
I think we need to take this information and start developing a policy, reach out to legal, and start from there.
Okay.
Just how many rules that the commissioners wish to impose or address.
When was the initial application made to start that 90-day?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So we can reach out to legal too to appropriately answer that. And I think as long as we answer and say that, policy is in motion and it looks positive, would be better than something negative, so.
Great, okay.
Thank you, Elisa. I appreciate you helping me out.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for
If you have more
joining us.
questions, feel free to reach out.
All right,
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
have a nice
Have a
day.
great day.
Okay. One down, 4 to go.
Yep.
Just a quick update on Webster. We met with the town. When I say we, I mean the Maine Revenue Service, the State Auditor's Office for the UT, LUPC, Commissioner Marshall, myself. We all met with the community. They came and gathered on the 28th of October. We answered all their questions and left the room so they could appropriately discuss this amongst themselves as a town. They didn't take a vote at that meeting. They're planning on having a town meeting on the 18th of this month to have an actual vote. The problem with that is the rules stated that they should have voted the first night they met. Though nobody gave them information in writing and nobody's given it to them verbally. But their research should have discovered that they're supposed to vote at that first meeting. But without somebody at the helm, at the auditor's office, without Nancy there, there's a gap in communication. So I don't know where that's going to go.
Is there a reporting requirement too? Or, I mean, an announcement or public notice that had to go out in order to?
Yeah, they did all that
They
up
did,
front.
okay.
Yeah, with the help from the assistant, Nancy's assistant down there.
Okay.
But so anyway, it's still up in arms what they're going to do. Still don't know. At the meeting that night, if you had to take a straw poll, 50-50. So hard to say. But anyway, that's just an update for you.
Okay, thank you.
It's time, once again, to send to all of our towns, 13 towns, that we have an animal control agreement for our regional animal control officer with, and let them know that we're gonna give a slight increase in pay. I don't know if you wanna explore increasing the mileage. It seems to be, we use the same mileage that the county uses.
Okay.
The mileage standard. So I don't know if you wanna look at that or not. It's not important to our particular animal control officer right now, but a small pay raise would be handy. She's completed all of her training and has done a great job, and there are weeks when she's extremely busy and weeks when she's not as busy. And she's right there nights and weekends. She's done a great job for us. She's currently at $17 an hour. We pass that cost off straight through to our towns. We're looking at trying to get 75 cents for her this year.
And that is something that she's amenable to?
Yes.
Okay. So most of these towns are in the 3rd district?
I'd approve, I'd make a motion to approve increase
Of 75 cents per hour?
of 75 cents per hour for our animal control.
I'll second that.
All right, and we would continue to follow the county guideline for mileage?
Right,
Yes.
no
Okay.
change.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second to increase the ACO pay by 75 cents per hour and maintain the mileage at the county approved level. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It is unanimous of those present.
Thank you. She does a good job.
Yeah.
And please extend our appreciation for the work that she does.
Reed Plantation does fire coverage for Drew. We've had a 1-year contract with them. We've been talking to them quite a bit, and we've got them to do a 3-year contract at the same price. They haven't had a major fire there, just some small incidents so far in Drew, so they were willing to work with us on that. So the contract in front of you is for a 3-year deal at $3,500 a year, which is our current price.
So we have a proposal of 3-year at the same rate. Do we have a motion regarding that?
Motion to approve.
Have a
Second that.
And a second, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It is unanimous.
All right.
Hammond Ridge.
Hammond Ridge, you're all familiar with Matt Holstein over the years and his Hammond Ridge development. His original plan was to do a lot more development, and he's ready to take phase 2 of that development, which includes, the map we showed you is some 30 some odd rental units that he rents out to go along with his event center, and some 30 to 40 homes in an area with a spectacular view. Those homes, he hopes, would be somewhere between 300 and 1.1 million to build each home. He's not looking at he's not looking at us sponsoring or helping him or promoting this. All he needs is from us to say that we do cover fire and ambulance and solid waste, and that we have informed the officials that handle those from the neighboring town. We have had them involved in a meeting with Matt, Commissioner Marshall, myself, the sheriff. We were all there, reviewed the development at length, and I'm just trying to get permission today to send that letter. It doesn't promote this. It basically states that we do have the obligation to cover fire and ambulance, and that we can renegotiate them in the future if we find we need to. You never know with a development if you're going to be up there a lot for one reason or another, like a false alarm. So, and he was open to any future discussion on if his development is causing any problems in the future, that he's open to discussion for that. Financial support, we hope.
Understood. And you've had a conversation, or he has, with the sheriff to determine what coverage would be?
The sheriff was at that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any comment, Sheriff, or your?
No, I will be providing them with a support letter. I think it's a nice project. We were very open about that there are gaps, particularly in our northern coverage. We'll have to talk about it as we move forward and see really what that develops in the future, but it looks like a nice project.
Well, it was very wise on your part to include that position in the unorganized territory to prepare for this.
Yeah. Anyway, Commissioner Marshall wanted the complete commission to see the letter we send, so they understand where we're coming down on this.
Any comments, Commissioner?
No, I think it's a performance, not endorsement, it's a procedural necessity for him to progress. I agree, I have no immediate concerns. I would point out that these homes, he's looking to construct actually cabins that are, I think, 700 square feet and above. Some are going to be individually owned as part of a homeowners association. The rest will be attached to the main complex to handle overflow from the cottage or lodge.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's all going to be paved roads. And I think the discussion in the way is very positive, and they answered all of our questions.
Will the roads be public ways or will they be maintained by?
Private ways.
They'll be private.
Any action required on this?
No, just the letter so he can file his application with LUPC and DEP.
I would
Any
approve
objection?
the letter.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to approve the letter of support related to this project. And a second, further discussion, seeing none. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Any other exciting items that you'd like to bring to our attention?
Save the best for last.
Save the best for last. Yeah. We've got, all the sand is put up in our sheds, all but one shed, the Grand Falls shed. They haven't put the sand up in that shed yet, but the others are completed.
Okay, super. Fiscal year 26 budget. Is it 26 or 25, 26?
26.
26, yeah.
25, 26, it's FY 26.
Okay,
They're one and the same.
okay. Review and approve for signatures. I
So you
believe
put
that's
in a
our
lot of
packet.
increases based on whether Webster is,
We did. It's at a point where we need to go through the budgeting process here, and Webster hasn't even given us an inclination which way they're gonna go, so we could always drop them out. All the additions in here is 122,194. Those additions are strictly for Webster. They have a salt sand shed, whether we wind up with it, if they deorganize or not, we don't know that yet. That's their decision to make, what happens with that. So we would have to, if they bought it, if somebody else bought it, we have the opportunity possibly to rent it back. We don't know that, that's just the rumors. So I put some rental money in there for that. I put maintenance in there for the facility, should we happen to own it. So I didn't know which way that was gonna go, if it went. A lot of these numbers are basically just to cover ourselves should something happen in the future.
And there would be potential assets that would transfer to the unorganized territory if they were to sell this and have surplus revenues, correct?
If they deorganize and they still own any assets they own belong then to the unorganized territories.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is if they were to.
If they sold it and they had any money left over, that money comes to us as well. Or a portion of it through the state.
And your budget doesn't reflect any possibility of revenue from that deorganization?
Not that, no. We did put in their LRAP money in here, should they get it, because I knew those numbers. So we did put in their road money. But other than that, we didn't add a lot of revenue in there for taxes or otherwise.
Sure. Okay.
And they have one low redundancy bridge, which is in need of repair, and they haven't done anything with it. It was inspected 2 years ago by the state, and it needs some maintenance work. And on a low-use bridge, that bridge becomes our responsibility to maintain if it's in our township. And 50% of the cost of replacing that bridge is ours in the future. So I've tried to add some money in there through capital planning to cover some of those costs.
George, could you advise the commissioners about the amount of road that will come under our jurisdictions for maintenance and repair?
It'd be 5.25 miles, 5.65 miles of townway, and just under 2 miles of state aid road for plowing. So we'd be a little over 7 miles of road we'd have to maintain.
Gravel or paved?
The 5 miles of road that are local roads that we would have to maintain out of our own budgets, not just plow, are paved roads that in the last 10 years, they've spread gravel over the top to fill in the potholes. So they're less than
Ideal.
ideal.
You don't know what's a Todd road until we drove it.
Right, we didn't know for a ways that it was, yeah.
So the potential of, and you've had some experience with having to grind out old.
Yeah, reclaim a road, yeah. So I threw some numbers in there, enough so that we could get started. There's no way you could do 5 miles in 1 year. It wouldn't be in any budget.
Right.
But you could do some and get the worst of it today and tomorrow get some more. That's the plan.
And is there a contractor now that does that work that we have any relationship with?
Yes, yeah. As a matter of fact, we've had a working relationship with one of the selectmen up there or town assessors for years.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Further questions?
No.
So no real, well, we've got to take final action on this budget today. So do we have a motion regarding the proposed budget?
Well, if I could add,
Yeah.
to make the motion, because we're gonna be over the cap, slightly over the cap because of Drew, if we took, because of Webster, I did the same thing. If you take Webster out of it, we're under the cap, but because we're over in this budget, the way it's written today, we either have to vote to increase, which is a permanent, or we could vote to exceed the cap, and that's a 1-year deal. But if you vote to increase, then it's a permanent part of our budget.
Okay, so the first step would be to take the vote as to whether to exceed or,
The
I think
cap,
that's probably, based on what you're projecting here, probably a better solution for us.
yes.
So moved.
We have a motion to
Second.
exceed the cap in this fiscal year. Have a second, further discussion. Seeing
So
none,
you're, okay, no, exceed the cap,
Yes.
that's a 1-year,
yes,
okay.
yeah.
It's not a permanent part of the budget, okay.
Based upon the, the uncertainty
See
of
what
what Webster's
develops. See what
going to be.
develops.
So next year, we could vote to keep, if it's in the budget next year, we could vote
Yeah,
something
yeah,
differently.
We might have to revisit this.
Yep, sounds good. Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion to exceed the cap for the coming year's budget. And I have a second on that, further discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor? Is unanimous of those present. At this point, we will now take a vote on the unorganized territory budget. Entertain a motion
Will we approve the budget for 2026?
as presented.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the unorganized territory budget for 25-26 as presented. All those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thank you. Nice job.
Next up will be Director Nuding and Deputy Director Fox. Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
You guys?
Morning.
Mr. Fox, you had an experience. You want to share some details with us?
Yes, good morning. So just to
Tilt that
recap.
down for you.
Yes, sir.
Tip it down there.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I'm just going to recap my deployment to North Carolina, Western North Carolina for the Hurricane Helene devastation there. I'll start just reminding, it was at the beginning of October. A few days prior, they had the remnants of Hurricane Helene come through the area and completely devastate the whole community, the county, multiple counties, basically all of Western North Carolina. So I was asked to deploy with Maine Emergency Management and Maine Forestry on a 9-day deployment to the town of Black Mountain, which was just east of Asheville. Basically, originally, I had been requested to support communications in my role as a communications unit leader, credentialed through FEMA. But once we got there, that mission had shifted, as often can happen when we discovered that role had already been fulfilled by a team that was very well equipped from Virginia. So I transitioned into the role of situation unit leader as well as resource unit leader. The town of Black Mountain and the surrounding communities we served was pretty similar to the area we serve here in Penobscot County demographics wise. Varying poverty levels, affluents and things like that. We were told before we left to prepare to enter a pretty austere environment, and that is what we found when we got there. There was very limited to no cellular connection, no internet. There was no running water. Even today, as I sit here to provide this report to you, the citizens in Black Mountain and the surrounding communities still do not have water that they can drink without boiling. Some of the key takeaways that the experience provided was just highlighting the importance of really taking an all hazards approach to preparedness. One of the things that came up when we were down there was that the people of Western North Carolina prepare for a hurricane like the people in Florida might prepare for a blizzard. It was not anything that they had thought was even going to be something they needed to think about. Both in that preparedness, both as county in our role as emergency management in those we serve, and as well as individual preparedness. In that vein, one of the things we often say is people need to be prepared for 72 hours of supplies and activities and functions for daily living. That really, in this situation, was highlighted that that's really not long enough. The help might be there, that might be coming to the community, but if all the roads have been cut off and completely obliterated and they can't get to you anyway, you're going to need health supplies for a lot longer than that. One of the other key takeaways really was just being properly equipped with multiple modes of communication, and it being one of those, being properly equipped with many different elements, but communications was really the highlight from my role as a communications person. The cellular was pretty much non-existent when we first got there, and so much of what we do is reliant upon the internet. So they brought in outside resources, but some of those things were in and out. And then when the secondary disaster potentially in Florida was occurring, some of those resources actually left. So for us, in the work we were doing, satellite internet was really key. And it worked really, really well. So I was really surprised actually how well it worked. And then, just to put a close on it, because I could talk about it for a long time, because so many things were really left an impact on me. The experience that you all allowed me to have by going to North Carolina and working in this environment really is going to have an impact on me and the work we do here in our office forever in a positive way. So I really, really do appreciate that, and I appreciate the support that was provided by supporting not only my deployment there, but also the county providing a vehicle for us to get there, because in the hours leading up to us actually leaving, that was in question whether we were actually going to be able to go because of limited resources within agencies.
I want to point out, Chris, that I know in your report, you were out of Black Mountain, but that covers the Swananoa area, and that's where President Trump had that national visit, that we saw the complete devastation in there, and you were involved in helping to oversee that whole area. With a vehicle from Penobscot County, Maine, people down there, I know you got very good reception, and you were very warmly received. We heard there were some concerns for responders that they might have been adversely affected by certain elements down there. That was not the case. You assured me that was not the case. And that people may not know where Penobscot County was, but they know it was Maine. You made a very present visibility there and a very positive contribution. And I know you and I have talked, and I'm very much pleased with the response of our department, us providing the vehicle so that the emergency response team could go all the way down. I know you drove from midnight, or you left and you got there after midnight, deployed the next day at the base camp.
Yes, sir.
And you worked straight through the next day. Congratulations and thank you. You're a great resource for the county, and I'm proud to be able to help our fellow brethren down in North Carolina on behalf of the citizens of Penobscot County. I want to thank you and the director.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd just like to highlight something that you said on the vehicle specifically. When we were going through the process, the agency where I was embedding with, their resources were going to have us deploy in a caravan, potentially, if that was, even an option. Thankfully, through the support of the commission and the director and the administrator, we've been properly equipped with the vehicle we took, being the Tahoe, because the roads that we were traveling on, we would have never gotten to where we needed to go, having such a small vehicle as what was proposed, or at least considered at one point. And having the room to be able to put 4 members of the team and all of our gear, because we needed to prepare to be in an environment where we were going to potentially be sleeping in a fire station on the floor in sleeping bags with no water, no sanitary facilities. We had to have all that equipment. On top of all the equipment we needed to bring to operate the EOC. So without that space that the vehicle provided, that you've all supported by having that, we wouldn't have been able to complete that part of our mission, or complete the mission effectively at all.
The big part of how was Starlink.
Yes, sir.
That, to me, is a resource for rural areas. That, how do you see if we in the future in this county or others, obviously they don't have internet connection, how would you know, how do you bring in Starlink? Were you able to connect people to that internet?
Yeah, so Starlink was the internet, satellite internet service that we employed for it. When we arrived there, the team from Virginia had a Starlink satellite. Starlink was actually for the facility where we had slept, because thankfully we didn't have to sleep in a fire station. We were in a hotel, although the hotel didn't have water, so it wasn't, a vacation by any means in comfort or anything, but we were out of the elements, thankfully. That facility had a Starlink delivered to them by helicopter, because the roads in the early days of the situation were completely inaccessible. So Starlink is definitely something that we should be considering here, both for our field operations, but even potentially as a redundancy for the internet here on the campus for KET. The comm center, much of the work that they do is very, very reliant upon internet access and the efficacy of that work. They can work without it, but it's a lot harder.
So to me, that should be something in planning or whatever to see, because we're certainly rural, and Starlink is the best solution I'm aware of to get the internet going again, so.
Yeah, I've personally had it for a couple of years at camp in an area where I can't get internet very well. And I'll tell you, it's simple. Actually, the instructions don't even come with words. They come with pictures, which is great for guys, right? We don't read instructions. And it's basically plug and play.
Director
Set up on
Nudi,
my phone, yeah.
Director Nudi, I have a question. I had a couple of calls from constituents who were inquired about the cost of the deployment. And could you clarify that that the deputy director's deployment and all the EMT services that we provided from the time he left to the time he got up were not incurred by the residents of Penobscot County? Could you clarify that, please?
Yeah, certainly a great point. So much like all federally declared disasters, those expenses are reimbursed, whether by the state or the feds. So for Chris's salary, his benefits, that was all reimbursable for those deployments, so there was no cost incurred there. And then for the vehicle as well, mileage.
What's the federal mileage rate? Right?
Yes, sir, yeah. So, the per diem rates, all that, that's all reimbursable, so there was no local expenses by you or us for sending, resources down there to help out through this mutual aid, so.
Just the goodness of our hearts.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
We might be the ones in need someday,
Never know.
Yes.
yeah.
So
Hence the need
perhaps,
for emergency equipment to deal with it.
Yeah.
are there different levels that Starlink operates at for a commercial or larger volume versus maybe a residential or seasonal use?
Do you know that off the top of your head?
Yes, there are varying levels of Starlink. I'm not sure on the pricing or anything like that at the moment. not prepared to respond, but there are different varying levels.
Would you gentlemen be willing to put together maybe a white paper for us on what the options would be to see if that's something that the commission would consider as part of the EMA equipment?
Certainly.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, thank you. Thank you.
Again, we want to extend our thanks to you for your commitment and what the department did to support our colleagues in other states that were dealing with challenges, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, great job.
I just had one quick other thing.
Sure.
I just wanted to highlight, Chris has also recently been certified as an emergency manager through the International Association of Emergency Managers. So part of that's taking a proctored 120 question exam. He needs 100 hours of both emergency management training as well as general leadership management training and experience in a disaster or an exercise. So he's met all those requirements and recently been certified. So I just wanted to publicly.
It was that certification that precipitated his direct request.
Yes, sir.
That's
So,
a good point.
yes. So,
Congrats, yeah.
Congratulations and thank you again.
thank you, sir.
All right,
Thanks.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Next up on our action-packed agenda will be ARPA discussion. Director Daner.
Director.
Yeah.
I'll remember that.
Okay.
I haven't seen you folks in a really long time.
Well, we're pleased to have you back. Hopefully your whirlwind tour.
Would you like to start with the Commissioner Fund, or?
Sure.
Okay, because that's quite a bit simpler.
Okay.
I apologize, I had it under District 2, it's actually District 1. Oh, let me change my glasses. And it's for the Clifton Community Food Bank for $5,000. And initially, the request had been for them to have some assistance with a vehicle that was needing repair, but they actually were able to collect funding for that, so we don't need to even, consider the truck. But they did ask that we, if we would be able to help them with food for the pantry.
So that's District 1. Any thoughts, comments?
What are the funds remaining
Yeah.
that we've not cut off?
Well, for the Commissioners Fund, we still had some surplus that we can deal with. We had stopped the subrecipient
Right.
grants.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Because yes, Commissioner Baldacci, you have $82,587 left in the funding.
If you need some help, I'm sure Commissioner Marshall has some ideas.
I might help you with $50.
I would approve that. I would move to approve that
So we have a
request.
motion to approve the $5,000 request from the
Okay,
Clifton
great.
I would
Community
second.
Food Bank, and I have a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That was easy.
That was quite easy. Now for the more difficult part. So we are revisiting a few organizations that have requested funding for us, from us. And the first one that I have here on my list is for the Millinocket Regional Hospital. Now this was for the CAT scan. We had a nice visit. And he actually gave us some information that I promptly forgot.
What page is that on? That's on the last page?
That is subrecipients are on the last page of the ARPA subrecipient section.
So the request is for a little bit over 500,000. It's 514,141. What?
Yeah, we had a different figure in person,
Yeah,
so we
that's-
may want to follow up with that,
That's
but,
been reduced to, was it 175 or something like that?
oh, I like that number even
Well, he
better.
said, I was in the middle and you just stopped me.
What was that one?
So we spoke to him, but it's about half. So he said anything really, and they're right,
So the-
anything would be helpful.
What was the original cost, 700,000 or something?
Well, what they presented us with was,
An issue.
which I have in the application, is a little bit over the 514. Because they plan to expend additional funding of about 60,000 on add-ons. So that would be after. We were really impressed. Scott and I went up there, and we were really impressed with the work that they're doing. And they have an excellent plan, which we have already helped with.
When you refer to the work that they're doing, can you define that a little better? We had given them initial money for planning work.
Yes.
We gave them a little over 1.1 million,
1167?
which they have the check for.
Yes, and he showed us the plans. They are thick. It is a book of architectural design. And
$800,000 worth.
yeah, very expensive. But it's really going to help with the emergency room because currently the lobby, in fact, we just had I wrote up an itinerary of our day visiting up there. And the emergency room, the lobby connects the emergency room with all of the general visits. So that could be kind of chaotic and traumatic for people who might have to see things that they would rather not. And also, they have such a small area for mental health issues, so the room that they do have is also in the emergency room. So again, as they were, one thing that he had brought out that I hadn't even thought of was the amount of noise that would be going on, and the light being very bright, and sometimes they would be there for much longer than 24 hours or even a few days. They could be there for quite a while in that room. So with the planning that they have, which is extensive for the extension, so many of these things will be alleviated.
So the plan still calls for 4 rooms that will be semi-secure, set off from the ER.
3.5. 3.5 safe rooms, which they currently have none. And that, of course, has direct impact on law enforcement in the community too, and for the safety of the staff at the hospital, as well as the safety of the patient.
And it's organized so much better, like the way that the drop-offs were, they're very inefficient, one at a time. Now they can do several.
One of the things I wanted to stress is because this project, the current CAT scan they have is near end. It's the 32, I think they call it a 32 band, or.
Let's stay with the building to make sure we.
Well, this is what we're talking about here has already been admitted. The building's already been, we've already paid for that. That money's out the door and the plans are in.
Well, I've got a couple more questions regarding that.
All right. Okay.
And then we can go back to the CT scanner.
All right.
But my question is, do they have a time frame for when they will start construction on this project?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's still obvious, yeah.
He does.
All right?
Go ahead.
So they are breaking ground this month. In
Okay.
fact, they went through all of the prerequisites, which was talking to the neighbors and presenting any questions that they had to the public and to others, and everything has gone without a hitch, and they are breaking ground this month.
All right.
Like a couple weeks?
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
would like to connect with him so that we can, at least one of us, if not both of us, or even maybe a commissioner or two or whoever, would like to go out and be part of that groundbreaking ceremony, or at least attend it and view it. Just so that we have another opportunity to, to show our commitment, to show, that we're into these projects, we want to see them through fruition.
And they have a timeline that will concur with the requirement of 2026 to complete.
Very positive at this point too, yes. That's the other reason for getting the groundbreaking, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions on the building? Back to the CT, you had.
Yeah, back to the CAT scan. This is the critical part, when I think of all the things that we can use our ARPA money for, this is something that has really long-term implications for northern Penobscot County. As I said, that equipment is nearing its end. It's the critical part of diagnostic equipment needed for a hospital. It serves everything north of Bangor. I mean, there are 15,000 people, I think, that are currently serviced by the Milwaukee Regional Hospital. And we have an aging population, and the new CAT scan machine that's in question today is I think 64, will give you a real-time a show of what's happening inside the body. If somebody's taken to the hospital right now, really don't know you have to know what's going on inside before you can address it. And this gives us a real in-time show or an in-time diagnosis right there. And time, when it comes to elderly people, stroke, heart attacks, things like that, the alternative is to send somebody down to Bangor, whether you do it through ambulance or air emergency, you're talking hours. And in cases that time is everything in a critical aging population. This, to me, is probably the most long-ranging application of ARPA funds that will see ourselves, this will be good for another 15 or 20 years. And I think I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. So as I look at the list here, we currently have, well, it says 6, but it's 2, 4, if I'm not mistaken, 4
4.
items.
Mhm.
Where do we stand in the overall unallocated ARPA funds that are remaining?
Gary can chime in, but I would say we're probably around the 1.7. What do you think, Gary? Yeah?
Does that include the Wellspring money?
No,
So we're,
closer to 1.9.
Did you say that did include or did not include wells?
does not.
It does
include-
not.
It's 1.7 exclusive of the 216 or whatever.
220.
220, yeah. And if I could chime in, if the commission, before we end this today, if we could get a vote on moving that, if that's what your choice is to move the monies back out of the Wellspring project back into the undesignated.
Yeah. I think since they're unable to meet the required deadline, why don't we do that now so that we know?
How much we have in the
That's
account.
that's your wish.
We have a
Yep.
motion regarding the retrieval or reallocation of the Wellspring.
I move that we reallocate the earlier grant
Right.
to Wellspring to return to the ARPA fund balance.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, to return the aforementioned grant to Wellsprings to the unallocated ARPA funds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Right, Gary will make that happen, and thank you.
Is there potentially any other current allocations that do not seem to be able to meet the?
Where are we at on the Y project?
I'll let you answer.
With regards to the Y, if she may or may not be listening, but I think Miss Diane would appreciate the additional funds as soon as the commissioners are willing to release them.
They're ready.
There's a date coming that I've been in discussion with her, and she has graciously is willing to wait until that date becomes more formal, a larger announcement, more public, and then,
Where is the city of Bangor, to your knowledge, on their releasing of their pledge funds?
I think in the same regard.
Can you verify
this
that
point.
with
I
the city
can,
before we
I can,
make
yeah.
And I think we certainly are, in no way want to convey that we are not supportive of what will be an incredible project. I think we're just being diligent about how we allocate distribution.
What is the date that you're looking at, Scott?
Oh my gosh, if you hadn't asked me, I could tell you. It's in the near future. I mean, yeah. I want to say even this, maybe middle to the end of this month, because I was thinking
Before
my trip to Florida, I'll verify it, I'll send you an email. I think
Yeah.
somewhere my vacation came up in the conversation.
I believe you had mentioned a date to me during the period that you would be out of town, so
That's right. So she wanted to extend it to another date to allow me to attend, to allow the commission to attend. She felt it very important. I also offered that I would go speak to her and bring a commissioner if she wished to speak to her board about their concerns.
Or we should probably, like Sandra said, coordinate with the city.
Yep.
So that it's done at the same time.
Sounds good?
Yeah, and I know the last conversation that Debbie Laurie had was they were waiting for the neighborhood meeting, and this was quite a while ago. And they had that and everything was well, so we don't see any,
And I noticed the city has agreed to convey part of that park
Yes.
to this
Right.
project, which was another hurdle.
correct, because it was owned by a family, I
Yeah.
believe, or something, or the name was
Okay.
used.
Okay,
Okay, so,
It's been out in public, so.
mhm.
yeah, I just think we owe it to them to verify things before we presume anything here. But
Sure.
again, I think we want to convey our support for the project. We're being diligent as we have tried to do with all distributions.
Mhm.
Okay, so at this point, as I understand it by our vote, we are somewhere in the 1.9 million that is undesignated at this point.
That's correct.
We have some numbers still remaining for county improvement projects or allocations that we may need to consider.
Yeah, if you want to go larger, yes. Most of the items that you've approved are already in motion. For instance, as we discussed, HVAC, if you wanted to approach that,
Have they been
again,
previously funded?
No,
no,
They are unfunded.
they
yes,
were in part of that, as I recollect, they were part of the list proposed by department heads, of which we have made some allocations for EMA and some allocations for the sheriff's department, but there's still a large capital line, if I'm not mistaken, in that request from facilities.
in that one, I'm not aware, other than if it was the storage building down back, which has kind of been put on the back burner. The one involved with the county request that I brought to you, I know there's a substantial request in there for SRT from the sheriff that I don't believe has had any support yet, although there's been support in other areas.
I think,
So-
just to be prudent, we don't have to designate it to each line item, but I think we need to come up with a figure that the county should reserve before December 31st.
January 30th now, actually.
Well, they've extended the reporting,
2 months.
and it's for like, that's for if something fell through allocation, then we had an opportunity to reallocate for, so long as it's within the
I
same
don't think
scope
any
and
of
all
us want
that.
to be here on December 31st.
No, it would be better to have it
So,
done by then to make sure, but yeah.
I just think if we can tighten this up, because we've, in essence, got 3 more regular meetings between now and the
Yep.
end of the year.
Yeah,
I would ask that too, especially because, like Patton, this has been going on since last spring. So
But
I just,
I'm talking about the county, that
Okay.
with all due respect to these requests and the importance to those communities or organizations, we have to take care of what the county needs. This is our last
right,
opportunity to,
right.
correct.
Right, and as you know, we've gone through the budget, so now that we're gonna finalize the budget today, the next meeting, we can throw more concentration onto this. I'll give you some information onto what's in the lines, what's been approved, what still is an outlier, and some other general thoughts. Again, with regards to HVAC, that's a larger commitment, and we'll go from there on the next meeting. I think would be the better plan. Yeah,
Is that
The
Franklin
commissioners
HVAC or is
concur
it
on
different
that?
HVAC?
no, that's this building.
Okay, okay.
I would be comfortable having that information available by the next meeting. I don't want this to drag on any longer than it has, because these other applicants are under the weather as well, and under the gun.
Well, Commissioner, it hasn't been dragging on. We've gone through the budget process, and when we
Well, that's what I
started,
mean.
we all agreed when we went through the budget process that we would delay this until later November.
Right, I
So,
understand
yeah, okay.
just to be prudent, we want to make sure everyone's understanding the same
that. Yeah,
page of music we're singing from here.
Mhm.
Okay, I think that's good. So,
we're waiting to divvy up that last piece of pie.
I know, this is almost as bad as spending that first dollar.
well,
Now you're trying to figure out how to spend the last dollar. Which is why, again, I think, yeah, it'd be more prudent to wait. There's more time to do this,
I would
to
defer to my
put
colleagues.
do you
towards
have any
that.
other
Yeah.
comments or observations you want to make regarding these items? I know that there has been a and to the subrecipient, but some of us in our district still have some funds remaining. So I just want the commission to understand that if there are funds remaining in the commissioner's fund, that we are still able to act on requests that may come in for commissioner grants.
Until you choose to close it, and if you choose at that point, then distribute, reallocate back to, you know, like we did with Wellspring,
Yeah.
allocate those leftover funds back to the undesignated and go from there.
Are there any other potential applicants that are not going to meet the requisite guidelines that the feds have set up?
I think it'll be,
For
yeah,
subrecipient?
subrecipient. I could think of a couple that I might, but I would rather rather meet with Wendy and go over that, the finances of where they are current to date and see, but there are a couple of concerns, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Well, I don't know, was that me being,
But
Right.
Not throwing you out, but
No?
I think we need clearer figures before we take any action on the
with the
remaining.
county department? With those needs of the county,
The county.
correct? Okay, so I will say, if there's anything that you might even be able to say, I don't want to do, if we could do that, because there were a couple that were, like the Maine ambulance. I did get another quote for that, and it's still, like, the first one was about 77,000. The second one was about right under 72,000. And I know there was discussion as to giving a vehicle if we had something, a donation type of thing. That was,
If there was a suitable vehicle coming out of service from the
Exactly.
county that could be provided to them.
or if you are entertaining the idea at all, or you're just thinking, no, absolutely not, we're not doing that.
I'm not interested in entertaining anything further in subrecipients until we know what the
Okay.
county needs are. And that's not to say that these aren't important issues.
Sure.
I think, unless my colleagues.
So that's the first priority, I guess.
Okay,
Okay.
well, that makes my job easy. I
Yeah.
will just wait for whenever you want to discuss it again. Did you want to talk to them about our itinerary or another day?
no, if you wanted to run down through it real quick.
Because you did have questions about how projects were going. I had written out just a summary of our visits. That first one was to Millinocket Regional Hospital, going wonderfully. On Spring Street in Penquist, they had purchased a historical building, and it is beautiful. That is going so well. It's going to provide 11 new apartments, and it's going.
This is Spring Street in Bangor?
No, Penquist, this is up in the Millinocket area.
Okay.
Yeah. And
The site of the old Aroostook Avenue School, correct?
I think so.
Was
It's
it a
next.
school? Yeah, there were like
I remember,
several.
yeah, he called it something, but it's
there were
next to the
several things
auto
it was.
dealership, right there in the center of town, yeah.
Yeah, and that's gonna provide apartments basically on a sliding scale, because if someone can afford more, it'll be that. If they cannot, then it'll be lower. We went to the Katahdin Higher Education ribbon cutting ceremony, and we had provided the playground equipment for 2 separate playground areas regarding their ages. That was such a great ceremony. And the child care edition was very well thought out, beautiful. And then the last was Save a Life, and that was excellent. We had a tour from former Commissioner Sanborn, and they're remodeling that. They became ADA compliant. All of the funding was expended, and it looks great, and they definitely have a need. So it was a good visit. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Terrific.
Okay.
Appreciate your work on that and what you're doing to keep us on track.
Okay.
Thank you.
It looks like we have come to the 2025 budget review.
We have. So in my notes that I sent you, there are several departments, I think there's like 8 or 9, 7 or 8, that were taken under advisement. Many were done, I think, under advisement because it was early on. So I'm gonna jump right to the big picture, because I think if you If you vote on the entire budget, that will take care of that approval process for those that are under advisement. Unless you have individual concerns with those departments, then we could go back and individually address before you vote on the entire package. But at this point, I met with the sheriff, we went over the revenues, and we're good on those. So I've reduced that reduces the overall increase to 10.10%.
If we stay with the current request from all of the
That is correct.
approved department budget so far,
Right.
those that are under advisement. And
Correct.
can you just quickly refresh our memory as to which departments are still?
Yep. Which departments are still under advisement?
Yep.
You want me to go through all of them?
Well, how many do you estimate we have?
Well, as I indicated, there are probably 7 or 8, or, I mean, I
We'll get the
can.
DA's office here, so.
I can give you I can give you the highlights if you wish.
Okay,
Yeah, so for instance, in the DA's office, there were requests for 2 full-time positions. That is included in this number, one in BWA, one in clerical. Also under the sheriff, there were 4 positions, 3 of them are town contract related. And the 4th is for the body worn camera, car dash cameras. And other than that, I don't recall or as I review, see any other large items to address. The other one was a jail cap, which is a really huge item. And lastly would be Department 32, if you want to make any other, which is building improvements. If you wish to make any other adjustments in that department in order to get under the threshold of 10% or whatever you wish to go to. I
any
did,
suggestions in that department that might be considered for revision?
so I did give you suggestions on Department 5, the DA's office. And, yep, they are here.
Yep,
My recommendation would be to make one of the BWAs, the current part-time BWAs, full-time. And that would be the only addition. I think the clerical it seems to be is more related to the state's new electronic filing program, recording program coming aboard. They're really not sure when that will happen, April, May, which for the state means June, July, August. It's reported to me that we're not the first county. So for me, we can address that later, as I've told Manager Higgins, that if that comes about and there are concerns later, we can bring to the commission to find funding to help address that situation. But again, to address it in a full year with the budget that we're already sitting at, without knowing what the state's gonna do, and we all know how that picture turns out. So that's why I recommended that
so
change.
moving the part-time victim witness advocate to a full-time position.
Current part-timer to full-time.
Just the
right?
one
Not adding
position.
the other.
Right.
And not adding the other, not adding the other 2
With
positions,
the
that is correct.
understanding that we might need to revisit that later in the year if,
The clerical, possibly, yes. That brings you down, I think, like 9.7, 9.71, something like that.
you had mentioned in the facilities, there might be some adjustments.
So Department 32, those are the 2 large items that go to building improvement, parking lot. I bring that up because last year it was used to help reduce. And that is 50,000 a year, or for 25, 50,000 put into parking lot and 100,000 put into the building. Those same budget numbers were there in the current year, in the original request, and it was reduced to 40 and 80. So roughly 30,000.
So keeping it at the same as last year.
If you kept it the same as last year, it's gonna reduce that 9.7 to what, I don't know.
I would support that.
Okay,
So.
can I have a vote on that, please?
So we would maintain Department 32 at the proposed reduction, which would be
120.
30,000, so the total would be,
40 and 80, here we go.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
So we have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to second on Department 32. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
And Department 5.
And then Department 5, the DAs.
before you vote on that, they're here, do you wish to hear from them, or
Yes.
do they wish to?
Yeah, we would like to.
Certainly. Please come forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our
I'm not sure
position,
that your mic is on.
Okay.
Strong.
And bring it right up there.
push the button.
Please, there you go. Thank you.
So our position is somewhat different from what Scott's outlined. I understand his general view of what he thinks we should get for additional help. Unfortunately, I think it underestimates what our needs are. Now, I appreciate that, I understand that he feels that our need for clerical depends upon this new concept of e-filing, e-filing will be a problem. The state court thinks it's not a problem. It is a problem. But in addition to that, folks, we do not have the people we need to keep up with our clerical demands. I'll give you an example. As you know, the number of drug cases that have been flowing through this area has increased significantly. This latest murder out in Exeter, Bangor, is tied to drugs. It's having a big effect on us. We have, in the past few months, now started to rely upon the clerical position in Piscataquis to help with Penobscot's obligations to get cases to court. Now, that's not right. She's being generous with her time. We should not have to do that. Now, I did not tell Scott about that, so I feel as if I'm blindsiding him. But this is not correct. Now, in addition, folks, the court is beginning to put more and more pressure on us, not just in terms of e-filing, but they're now saying that they want us to provide discovery, police reports to every single defendant at arraignment. We do not have enough people to copy all of that stuff off, take it down to court, and give an individual packet to each defendant. Now the Maine Public Defender's Office has already started to raise this issue with the court, and they did yesterday. They claim that we're in violation of the rules. Now, I don't know if I buy that, because our feeling is that we do have to provide discovery, but their feeling is we need to give a defendant a copy of everything at arraignment. Now, whether the judge rules for us or not, I think we're going to be in trouble. The clerical demands are significant here, and I'm asking that you honor our request for a full-time clerical position. And I'd soon cede the floor to Christine and Chelsea if they want to expand on this, because it's a problem.
I do, if I could just say a couple things. So I feel like we're all really worried about e-filing, so we have come in here and talked about that because it is going to be a huge problem. But regardless of if we ever go to e-filing, we need more clerical. And I feel like I have kind of a unique insight on that because I was clerical here when I was in college. And just the differences from when I was clerical, which was just 8 or 9 years ago, to now are huge. For one thing, every single department except the sheriff's office has some form of either body cam or cruiser cam or both, which is a huge problem for us, for clerical dealing with it. And defense attorneys who don't have staff, often a lot of them solo practitioners don't have a staff like we do, and they rely on our staff to kind of help them out with stuff that really isn't necessarily their job. But what are you going to do if they can't access media and they need help? They have to help them. So media is a huge thing. The fact that we're now having to provide discovery multiple times because people are sitting, without a lawyer for so long, where we used to only have to give discovery once, now people are going several weeks, and if they're out of custody, several months without a lawyer. They need discovery, and then they need it provided again when they get a lawyer. So our needs have increased exponentially, and our staff has not. And the other thing I just want to say about it is we have enough clerical staff right now to kind of barely keep our heads above water, which I see as a problem for a number of reasons. Number one, work quality suffers. It just does. That's a fact.
And number two, people go out. People have babies, people get sick, people get cancer. My own clerical went out for several months with a serious medical issue, and it was very stressful for me. It was so stressful for me at times, I really did not know how I would even like continue as a prosecutor because I was so worried. I was losing sleep about things that were falling through the cracks on my cases, and that's my license on the line. You know, I have to accept if I violate someone's rights, even though I didn't have a clerical, and we're so affected when someone goes out. The times that we're fully staffed, you know, yeah, we're surviving, but when someone goes out, it's horrible for the attorneys and for the other clerical staff, and it creates a hostile work environment, and you can't, you know, improve. You can't make things better, and that's what I feel like the DA's office should be trying to do, but we're just struggling so hard that we can't be like, oh, how can we make the process better? How can we improve? How can we meet people's constitutional rights better, because we're all just drowning in work, and it affects everyone. And I just don't think it helps staff in the long run either. I think that's what causes burnout. It's what causes people to want to leave and, you know, causes turnover. And I want to see the office thrive, and we can't, you can have all the good ideas in the world, but if you are understaffed, it is just horrible. You can't get around it. You cannot have good idea your way out of being short-staffed. Thank you very much for hearing us out.
Christine, do you have any comments?
No, I agree with Chelsea. You know, we do manage, and we have managed for many years with the clerical that we have. It is the case if we have vacation going on or someone's out because of an illness or a baby, you know, we all pick up the slack, but it is, you know, I do see a burnout of clerical, and, you know, thankfully we haven't been in tears lately, but, you know, there's a time when, you know, that we are, you know, we have experienced clerical in tears because they're so overwhelmed.
Sure. Comments or questions from the commission?
Well, one, obviously, we're faced with rising budgets in all the departments. And the initial forecast was that we'd have almost a 10% increase in our budget, which is quite high. Historically, that's way beyond what we've ever seen. Sometimes when we've had a situation like this where the need is pretty clear, we would obviously hope that you find ways to streamline your process. Don't just do things because that's how you've always done things. And I think there is a need to look at how you're handling these matters and not just throw your hands up. But one way that could soften the blow, I think, would be to fund a new position for starting July 1 or something, so it's the impact is half as much as if it is January 1. But I think it would also be to look at how can you simplify things and how can you address things more efficiently. That would be great, but clearly we understand the crisis with the courts. The courts are as much to blame as anything. I don't know, it's just the judges that are not in touch with reality. Hopefully this public defender system will give you an easier place to know where you deliver stuff. How do you, you know, instead of always pro se people or whatever. But I would think to consider whether we do it as funding it as a July 1 for the new person as a way to help with it. But it's just.
Well, the judicial malaise we find ourselves in right now has many factors and many participants. The legislature, the courts, the governor's leadership. But there is one aspect that we can address, and that is our own staff. And my first thoughts is I would be receptive to this, but in deferential to Peter's recommendation, I think we might delay. I would be prone to supporting this, but I think I would concur with Commissioner Baldacci and look at this as a funding option beginning July 1. That will have, wait and see what that does, but that would, I think, be the compromise, Peter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Comments, questions?
Well, that's certainly a light at the end of the tunnel. I think that enables us now to think about, the future and how we're gonna put that into play. I think that makes sense. Peter, I do want you to understand, that streamlining issue is important to us. And we're constantly trying to figure out ways to make it go, meet our obligations as well as we can. So for instance, one of the things we do is we get student interns from Eastern Maine Community College and sometimes Husson. They come over and they're given this discovery problem, but they're only part-time. Right. So sometimes if things are good, we may have an intern or two down at the court ripping off discovery and giving it to the defendant. But if they're not there, then we haven't done it. So so in other words, we have in the past relied on interns to do this. But I can see this offer is a positive.
I think we're funding additional money for interns in your budget.
Correct.
Yeah.
But they're not always there.
Right, obviously.
It's hit or miss.
The interns that we're extending are for the prosecutor interns.
Okay, that money then there has to do with lawyer interns. In other words, second-year students. They don't do the clerical.
The interns that we have from East Maine Community College or Hudson are,
They're free.
Interns are from the local colleges.
that we
They're
have.
free. They do it, they get credits.
Course credit.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Proposal under consideration right now would be to add back in the clerical for a half a year.
For a half year, yeah. Which, if you chose to do that, again, it would take me some time to throw it in here and get you exact, but it would probably take up the 40 that you shaved off of Department 32 and probably a little bit more. It would still, I believe, keep you under 10.
What if
I'm guessing 9, 8 or something.
we considered this proposal? We maintain the witness advocate at part-time until July 1st. So in essence, you're looking at both positions coming online July 1. So
Okay.
I know there's probably a differential in
Yep.
pay or benefits, some of those, but would that,
So again, just for clarity, the clerical position would be a new position at
Yes.
half year. And the VWA position would be the conversion, but in July at half year. So there wouldn't be an additional VWA,
that's correct. It would be upping that from a part-time to a full-time, but not until.
not until July.
Fantastic.
that'd be a big
I'll
help.
make a motion to make those two changes.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a motion to continue the victim witness advocate at a part-time level until July 1st, and then adding a clerical on a full-time position as of July 1st, 2025.
But I think you're saying on the VWA, that would go to full-time in July.
I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, it's full-time in July.
Yes, full-time, just to clarify.
That's no improvement otherwise.
That potentially keeps us somewhere in the range that you had estimated, Mr. Atkins.
It's under 10%.
I know, need to have some discussion.
Yeah, that'll bring you back down to, it may even go below 9.7, but it should get you right there. Yep.
Okay. And, we'll monitor that to see what results can be attained. And
All those in favor?
Yeah.
so all those in favor? It is unanimous of those present. Okay?
Oh, boy.
Thank you very much.
Sigh of relief from us, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate your understanding and help with that.
Yes.
Okay, so that brings us to a point where we are somewhere in the target range of 9.7 increase if we were to approve. Do you feel comfortable with us voting to approve this today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can reach back out to you with specifics.
Just,
Yeah.
So I'd move to approve the 2025 budget as amended.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
have a motion and a second to approve the 2025 budget for Penobscot County as amended today. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous?
All right, thanks.
Okay, that wasn't too painful.
No, that was very good, actually. Thank you.
That's the only one we got now?
And that's the whole shooting match.
Yep, just like
At
that.
this,
How many departments we have left? Correct.
that's it.
That's it.
We just did all.
You just vote, yeah, yep, collectively, yep.
So all of those that were under advisement, we have taken what was, some of those were
Including the
amended.
sheriffs and the,
Yep,
and praise the Lord.
yep,
Okay,
yep.
so at this point, are there any other administrative or HR items? Because I don't see that you had anything on the agenda.
Nothing comes to mind at this point. Again, a reminder, I'll be on vacation from the 7th to the 14th, returning back. Our public, our budget committee meeting for the budget is the 21st.
Starting at 4:30 here with the
4:30, right.
delicious.
Light meal and get her rolling, get her rocking and rolling. Yep.
4:30.
4:30 right here. Will
Tony,
we
you got
have,
anything?
We'll have some refreshments, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
for-
Yeah, we might have something,
No
yeah.
alcohol.
yeah, okay, at this point then, we are at item H on our agenda, which is to approve the
Yes.
warrants as presented and printed in our agenda. Do I have a motion?
To approve the warrants in item H.
Have a motion, have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move we go into executive session.
At this point, I have a motion regarding the executive session. We actually have 4 executive sessions.
Actually, you can eliminate the labor negotiations
Okay.
after this morning, so.
All right, so we have 3 items, 1 contractual, 1 acquisition of real property, and the third being personnel.
Yep,
And I had a second, I believe.
Yeah.
We'll take a brief break. All those in favor?
awesome.
Okay,